Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the regular meeting of the Nicholas County Board of Education, Monday, May 15th, 2023. And at this time, if you'll stand with us for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. This time, please join the board in the pledge. I pledge
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, let's, number 3, approve the minutes of the meetings held on April 18th, April 25th, and May 1st.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the meeting minutes for April the 18th, April the 25th, and May the 1st.
Second.
They have a motion by Dr. Penix to approve the minutes for April 18th, April 25th, May 1st, second by Mr. Berry. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 4, budget hearing.
So tonight we're going to ask the board to approve the budget for the 2023-24 school year, which we'll get into the details of that here in a little bit. At this time, we want to give the public an opportunity to ask any questions. The budget's been on public comment for the last 14 days, and so if there's any questions from the public, we'll take those at this time. If not, then we can move on.
Are you sure?
Well, unless you have questions.
I asked all my questions. Anyone in the public? All right, thank you. At this time, we have recognition, 2023 Youth Arts in the Park, Wildflower Contest winners, and several other things. So, Josie, you doing all this?
She did the first one. She's the one that. So if we can, the board in up front, so we can recognize our students.
Hello, I'm Josie Groves. Tonight I'm here to recognize the 5 students who received an award for the West Virginia Youth Arts in the Park competition. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Youth Arts in the Park is a student competition that celebrates ecology through art. Sorry. This competition is made possible by the National Park Service. Nicholas County has 5 high school representatives who earned recognition in the competition this year. These students are Corinne Andrews. Corinne, if you want to come get your certificate. Madison Buckland. Bethany Butcher. Abigail Browning. And Katie Gillespie, who also won Best in Show for the high school level.
All right, you come right here in the middle. Oh, here we go. Ready?
2, 3. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Bayless, next.
I want to thank Dr. Tetrick and the board for letting us recognize our students this evening. We have a lot of winners. This is probably our most successful year we've had with student competitions. And so let's just get right to it. So first up, we have FBLA. So Mrs. Blankenship.
Hi everyone, I'm the FBLA Director, Jerica Blankenship, and I'm going to announce the students that placed at the state competition. Chloe and Bailey Cox placed second in broadcast journalism. Michael Thomas placed second place, Michael Thomas placed second in computer problem solving. Braden McPherson placed second in intro to financial math. Katie Taylor placed fourth in cybersecurity. And Jeffrey Dodgel placed sixth in personal finance.
All right, if you guys will come over here, I'll get your picture. Come on over. Come on over. Get you all in there. Show you and see. Yeah, Mr. Berry, step over to the, just a little bit. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Good job, guys.
Okay, next we have Educators Rising, and Mr. Cooper couldn't be here, so I'll read the names. First place in public speaking, we have Nicole Meadows. First place in lesson planning and delivery, Audrey Shiflett. First place in lesson planning and delivery for CTE is Elizabeth Hill. And then first place in ethical dilemma, it's a team event. We had Audrey Shiflett, Elizabeth Hill, Michelle Brightman, all together. And Michelle Brightman also placed second place in creative lecture.
Good job.
Next, we want to recognize our students who graduated with an associate degree this year. And we have 2, 3, 4, 6 of them. So first, in the area of business, we have Caitlin Taylor.
Congratulations, superstar.
Delaney McBride. And Mary Bird. Next, in the area of education, Alyssa Roberts. Aaliyah Cox. And finally, in the area of science and mathematics, we have Wesley Deal.
All right, if you guys will come over here and get your picture. Okay, come on all the way over. There you go. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Good job, guys.
Next, we will recognize Jolena Miller, Rita McPherson, and Alexis Keffer for placing first in the Southern West Virginia Business Plan Competition, and then also receiving a $2,000 $2,000 at the West Virginia Business Plan Competition. So these students created their own product and took it and pitched it to investors here in West Virginia and won $2,000 to create their business. So super exciting. No, they did not bring it back. They showed.
What's their product?
Their product? Tell them what your product was, guys.
It's gonna be the
Tell-
speaker.
Come to the mic.
Yeah, come on.
So it's a marshmallow stick that has a catcher under the end of it, so if your marshmallow like melts and falls off, it's going to fall into that catcher instead of into the fire.
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hi everyone, I'm Samantha Kauna, the agriculture instructor and FFA advisor. I have one individual to recognize tonight at the state FFA horse evaluation and hippology contest, placing 7th place overall, Melena Bragg.
Mr. Odell?
Okay, now Mr. Moose, lift up just a little bit, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Rodell. I do want to thank the board for giving us this time to recognize our students, the superintendent. I also want to thank Mr. Bayless. I'll tell you what, all the success that we've had in Skills USA this year wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Mr. Bayless and, of course, the board. You know, it's rare that, I won't say he's never said no, but it's pretty rare. You know, if we make a reasonable request, usually he makes sure we got the resources to be successful. I also want to thank my co-advisor, Mrs. Kessler. I'll tell you what, she keeps us all pointed in the right direction.
Amen.
And you never have to wonder about where you're at. She'll tell you. So, like I say, couldn't do it without her. But again, I'm up here, you know, we're going to talk about Skills USA just a little bit. And we're going to call kids up. A couple things I want to mention is if they placed at the gold level, or first place, they will be representing not only Nicholas County, but the state of West Virginia in Atlanta in June. So I tell you, I'm super proud of these kids and their hard work and dedication. You know, oftentimes it's said, and you know, and me being from industry, I hear it all the time. You know, where's our future skilled workforce going to come from? I tell you what, Skills USA is making a big dent in it. It really is. So again, I'm super proud of these kids. Just wish them the very best in Atlanta. I tell you what, when you go to Atlanta in the national competition, you're competing against 50 of the very best. You know, each state sends someone. So I told somebody one day they'll eat your lunch down there, but they'll eat your breakfast too. You know, you better be ready to compete. But anyway, advertising design, second place, Dalton Stanley. Power equipment technology, Ethan Elliott, second place. Carpentry, second place, Brock Moore. Teamworks, a couple of these fellows couldn't be here tonight. First place, Tyler Nugent, Jack Chapman, Brady McGraw, and Landon Bell. Skilled Carpentry Showcase, first place, Landon Hilton. Construction tool ID, second place, Taven Stewart. Next is welding fabrication team, second place, Garrett Steer, Keaton Strader, and Zane Spencer. Welding individuals, first place, Tucker Johnson. T-shirt design, second place, Hannah Hilton. Chapter display, again, this is a team of 3. Third place, Colton Fairs, Jolena Miller, and Alan Darling. Related technical math, third place, Brady McPherson. Screen printing, second place, Kalia Long. Job interview, second place, Bailey Jarrett. Bailey will be representing West Virginia at the national competition as well. Medical math, first place, Chloe Cox. Nurse assisting, first place, Morgan Balls. Nurse assisting, second place, Michaela Lewis. That's all of our students that placed at states this year. And again, if you would, please give them another round of applause. A couple other things I'll mention as they get lined up.
We have to do a couple pictures.
We'll just name the,
let's, would you step back for just a second, and let me get these, and then we'll put you in there. Okay. Dr. Tetrick, we cannot see you. Come over, yeah. Come over toward Dr. Penix just a bit, and Mr. Moose, you as well, go toward Dr. Penix there. Let's scoot this way. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, next group.
All right, where y'all?
See, Miss Kessler, we have someone else bossy here too. Everyone needs bossy people.
I hear you.
Okay, let's see. Okay, if you all can just scoot down and then. Back up. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Bailey.
Cover all the school stuff.
We can jaw in here. Come on. Yeah, we can jaw in here.
You can sit down.
Yes, scoot on the, there we go. You want to scratch just a little bit more? You all of you want to step in. Okay, making sure I can see everybody. Mr. Barry, skip, move toward Mr. Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Good job.
And out of this group, before we move on, if you don't mind, Landon, would you mind coming up so we can get a picture with you also? He made a beautiful clock, and as you all went through and observed, this is a young man that made that clock.
I tried to find the truck.
So do you mind just turning around? Let's get a picture with just you in here with us, okay? Scoot back just a little bit. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
also want to mention that we had 2 young ladies elected to the State Skills USA officer team, Bailey Jarrett and Chloe Cox. And that's a pretty big deal.
Let's see that arm.
Good.
You gonna share?
1, 2, 3.
I want to pray with that one.
Also, West Virginia State Advisor of the Year for Skills USA, Sawyer Lemon.
It's hard to beat first year.
Yeah. They want to know, Mr. Moose, if you're going to hug him. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
And the last thing I'll mention is the Nicholas chapter of Skills USA was selected for the second year running to be a Gold Chapter of Excellence in 2023.
Picture taken for that, we'd like to have that. Ms. Kessler? Mine?
Get on up here.
Hey, getting recognized as a gold chapter, we definitely need your pictures. You guys can hug Mr. Moose for all I
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
So at this time, I would like to,
Just a second, before they take off. I'm
we have
sorry.
one more award. One more award.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that, so you students did an excellent job, but if it wasn't for our instructors over there, we have some really good instructors. So anyway, thank you all.
So this is a first of its kind award. It's the Community Recognition Award. And I'll have to say that a gentleman by the name of Charlie Wilson called the board office and he said, he said, there's someone that goes above and beyond. They help, they do all these things for kids. And I had thought about putting something in the paper. Now, he was talking to Kim Boletto, but Kim Boletto came in and explained all this to me. And I said, that really means something. You have someone from the community that recognizes one of our employees who has retired and actually a substitute now, but recognized and thought so much of one of our employees, he was going to spend his money to put an article in the paper. And I said, so just which employee is this? So Ms. Boletto gave me the employee's name. And I said, well, he's a pretty deserving fella. So I think that it's definitely fitting for us to give a community award. So I invited Mr. Wilson here tonight to speak about why he thinks this person deserves this award. And so at this time, if you don't mind, come up and present. You're just fine. And here's your mic.
Thank you.
Thank you all for inviting me over. It was sort of unexpected. I wrote this little article, and I wasn't expecting Ms. Boletto to do this. I'm so glad that she did. I had another little brief written. My 7th grader told me it was too much about me and not enough about the other person. So I did cut it down some. But Ms. Boletto asked me if I'd just go ahead and read what I read to her that morning, and if I may at this time. First off, I'd like to say that by my being here is no reflection on me. After speaking with Ms. Boletto about this subject, I asked her to relay the message to Mr. Dietrich. When she did so, I was invited to attend the meeting unexpectedly. I didn't expect to get the opportunity to do this. And I'm not a speaker or a writer, but bear with me, please. But I've come to make a presentation to a wonderful gentleman who needs to be recognized in the community. After all his years of service, retiring and returning to do a well-needed service to the children, especially the children, but also to the families bringing their children to school. No matter what the weather, cold, rain, snow, he's out there doing the service. And I wouldn't say anything about anyone else in a negative way, but I will say positively that this person is there. I take my child to school almost every day, and I'm much aware of what I say is true. There are no traffic tie-ups. He keeps them flowing. I'm sure many of them take for granted what he does. Some don't pay attention, but many share my feelings in the community. He has probably helped save children's lives or injury to many and their families at Richwood Middle and Richwood High School. On behalf of Nicholas County Board of Education, the many families and myself, we wish to present to you this service award for a wonderful service. Thank you, Gary Adams, for a job well done.
Mr. Adams, thank you for the job that you do. He said it very well, and you're a good man, and you've done a lot for us, and it's really appreciated.
Thank you, Gary.
Let's get a picture with the whole. Thank
you.
You can come over in the center with him, and we'll get a picture.
Yeah. It's done. Roll shit. Rolling.
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I know that.
Thank you all. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Now, before you all take off, there's a lot of exciting stuff left on the agenda. No, if you'd like to slip out, that's fine. Thank you all for
Is there
Next.
He'll be as famous as Jimmy Marsh. And he'll be as famous as Jimmy Marsh.
I remember you was there. He comes to our house, he does a good job.
You came with me.
Black Deer.
Wait for you to call.
No, go ahead.
I'm going to present on this.
I think I'm next.
Are you next?
No, Donna is.
I'm next.
Oh, well, I thought,
Well, no, you're next.
yeah,
Yeah, discussion.
Take my job back.
yeah. Sorry.
That's not,
We're losing it today.
Yeah, but don't go far because I won't take long. I just kind of wanted to give you an update on this in case you get some questions because it is going to represent kind of a major shift somewhat in what we're doing. A year before last, the West Virginia legislature passed a bill that required all jobs to be posted on a statewide job bank. It's code 18A-2-7A. This
This is a requirement that all positions, including extracurricular positions, service positions, have to be posted on the statewide job bank. This March, the state actually contracted with a platform called Frontline or Applitrack. And beginning July 1st, by July 1st, all of our jobs must be posted in this platform. This is going to kind of change the way we do things. It's going to change the way our staff processes applications. And it's going to change how employees apply for jobs. So that's why I thought it would be important that I kind of give you an update in case you have questions. We've got our page set up in the platform, and what I have been doing kind of furiously the past month or so is making sure that our staff also have accounts and that they're set up correctly. So that includes our principals, and also our hiring committees also will be able to see applications and stuff within this platform. So what I'm currently doing now is I'm visiting schools and kind of going through the process. We have a bunch of fake job postings up. They're test job postings so that we can actually walk schools through how the hiring process is going to work on their end, from how they're going to see applications. This is really kind of a neat platform. It will allow people to automatically send for references, so it's going to save our staff some time. It's also got a nice little feature that will allow them to schedule interviews with just a few clicks of a button and send some email. So I've been working with them on that. Once I get them set up and ready to go, my plan is to have a couple of help sessions. Again, post some test jobs for our employees who maybe feel like they're not technically savvy. That can come in and we can walk them through where the job postings are going to be and how to apply for jobs. They're actually going to have to set up an account. So we'll be assisting them with that. Again, this is a change that's required by state code. And so our employees have kind of been laying the groundwork and letting them know that it's coming. But the state has since informed us that we have to be posting all jobs there by July 1st. And that seems like a long way away, but it's not when you still have several schools to get through to train, and then also to try to train our employees. I've also reached out to some of the teachers union and the service employees union, and to ask for their assistance in seeing that our employees are trained, because we want to make sure that our employees know how and are capable of applying for jobs in the system. It's going to completely replace what we do now. I don't think it'll be a difficult transition. Our employees are used to applying to jobs online. We've been doing that for several years now. It's just going to be a completely different platform, and they'll have to set up an account. But once they set up the account, all they have to go in is just click a button for whatever position they want to apply for. And that will be nice. And also, applicants who are external to us right now, the system that we have set up, it's free. So Chris has taken Microsoft Forms and Power Automate and kind of melded the two together. And that's how our current system works, and it's wonderful because it doesn't cost us any money. But one of the things is for every job you apply for, you have to submit a separate application. So people who are not our employees, it takes on average about 45 minutes to fill out the application. In this new system, once they set up that profile, they just click a button for whatever position that they want to apply for, and it automatically generates that information into the application. So that'll be nice. I've played around with it. You can actually apply for a job in about 3 minutes. So hopefully that will help, with some of our vacancies. So I just wanted to let you know that was coming in case you had questions, and I'll entertain any questions that you have.
Deals with every single position.
Every single position. Every single position.
And those who might not know about it, if they would come to our website, it would direct them to the state.
Yes, correct. We've actually got our own little page in this platform. So what I would do when they would come to where our jobs are currently posted, they would see our page in that system. So they would automatically see where our jobs are posted to if they're coming to our website. And then when people from, across the country or across the state are looking for jobs, it kind of matches them. Like if they put in that they're looking for, they're a science teacher, then they're going to know what science positions are open. So I think it'll be a good thing. It's just a matter of the logistics of getting everybody switched over and used to the new system.
Will it be both by employee and by school? Will they be registered as?
Well, the employees have to have an account to apply for a job. I mean, it doesn't cost them anything, but we've got to get them set up in the system. I've already set up the schools, so the schools have, the schools don't really have an account, but there's it's a complicated electronic data. I mean, it's just all electronic. So, our principals and our interview committees can log on and they can see the applications for their schools.
So when an application deadline ends, it automatically sends it down a pipeline to either the principal?
Right, as soon as someone applies, the principals and the hiring committees can see the applications. And from there, they can schedule interviews, they can ask for reference checks. It goes from, actually, because right now we even use those Microsoft Forms and Flows for our job posting requests. So that's going to replace that as well. So the principal can log in and send me what's called a requisition because, we need to repost this job. So it's going to come to me, that turns into the job posting. Then as soon as people start applying, they can log in and see who's applied. And it's really kind of neat. I don't have the technical expertise to explain to you how all the technical aspects of it because it's, computer science stuff. But then once they make a selection, I can see who they're interviewed, if they've got interviews scheduled, I can see all of that, and up until where they make a recommendation for me to hire.
I wonder if it just closes, like if the posting comes down at 4 o'clock on Friday, it closes and accepts no more applications?
Right, correct. One of the things with this new system, because the state set it up, so some things we don't have any flexibility with, and the one thing is that job postings will now close at midnight instead of 4. So that's going to be one thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing, except that sometimes that could cost us a board meeting for hiring somebody, because they're oftentimes, particularly with service, where it's just based on, your seniority. We have jobs that'll come down often at 4 o'clock on the day of the board meeting, and we can hire that night. Now, we won't be able to do that with some positions.
Yeah, but right here, there's 3, there's top 3.
Thank you.
So, where am I on this? Can you see this okay? My principals were exhausted, and I told them quite honestly, I thought I could get up, show you the data. So what I'm attempting to show you is the initial report to our current report. As you can see, this is a math, and this is above level. We started out with 37 kids above level in mathematics, and you can see, hopefully you can see the percentages, and you can at least see the green. This was when we were brand new, we were just trying to figure this out. Currently, we went from 37 students to 225 kids in the county above level. And you can see there's been some major growth in some of the schools. Mount Lookout, Mount Nebo, Panther Creek, those 3, a lot of growth. And then if you look at the math, these are the students who are on level, according to IXL. We started out with 454 on level, we're up to 800 on level. So, it's not a magic bullet, but you can see that according to the measurements that we are seeing growth. And you can see the charts, 14% now to 24%. And again, you can easily see the growth. you know, Birch River Elementary, look how much growth there. You know, Dolly River, Mount Lookout, Panther Creek, Glade Creek, Mount Nebo, Zila, you can see it's been quite a bit of growth. This is math. You're not seeing that. No one level for the high schools. Middle schools are also struggling. Let me back up, I didn't point that out. Same with our above level on math. Our elementary schools are moving, but we're just not seeing it with secondary. Below level. We started out with 17% of the students below level in mathematics, which was 557. We're up to, we are showing now 484 below level and 15%. So we've been able to reduce that by 2%. And again, you can see the measurements. You can see our secondary schools are struggling. Far below. See, the top part, we had 44% far below, 1,451 students. Now we've got 43%, so there's 1% movement. So hopefully that 1% went up to, you know, the above level, but 1,423. And you can see the secondary schools, you can see where they all shake out here. I have grave concerns. So for ELA, we're actually doing better in our mathematics than ELA. So you can look at, again, we started out with 176 kids above level, and we've now moved to 465. So up to 14%. And again, you can see all of that growth is in our elementary schools. On level, again, we started out at 13% with 438 students. Now we're up to 656 students with 20%. Again, all the growth is elementary. Secondary, you're not seeing any movement. ELA below level, we started out with 17%, 562. Now we have 517 below level, 16%. So we've improved some, but again, and then the ELA far below level, we started out at 37%, 1,227 students, and now we're at 39%. So we've gone the opposite direction. We're 39% below now. This is 37 or 39. And you can see where it's all hitting. Secondary. So what we will show you in the future is a list of the usage. Once our GSA is unembargoed, we will be able to move forward with that information and doing some comparisons. We're seeing some real bright spots in some areas. Real bright spots. And then we're seeing some spots that are very concerning. But I think that it's going to be important. One of the correlations I want this board to see is the IXL usage as compared to test scores and our predictors.
The GSA testing window is closed, is that correct, Dr. Lee?
No, they're still working.
Still
There are
working?
some grades, a lot of the math assessments have been completed, but not all of the ELAs and science.
So when's it close?
They have until the end of the month.
But you're already seeing those test scores.
Yes, the preliminary ones.
We have some more bright spots. I've got a couple I'm very proud of. But yeah, we have the preliminary results once we get those in. But again, very concerned about secondary.
The IXL is looking at all students K through 12, correct?
Correct.
All students. And then the GSA, of course, is only looking, what, 3 through 8 and 11? Is that correct? So, might be a difference. I'm anxious to see the analysis on, you know, the trends, what we see, and what we can do about the secondary level particularly.
Do our teachers have any ideas about what's going on at the secondary level? They have any speculation?
I've talked to my principals. I've asked, do we need support? Do we need resources?
We know we've got good people. We know we've got good people.
We do. We do. I'm not sure what's going on. Those are some conversations we've had. We have some ideas, but it's one of those situations that I don't know. It's going to take more work, but we're struggling.
The IXL, it does look at every aspect that is being considered on the GSA. Is that correct? Every component of the math components, like geometry and estimations and all that type of thing?
Yes.
And is it doing the same thing in language arts? I'm a little surprised that language arts is below mathematics.
Yes, that was surprising to me as well. Yes, if you can break it apart by strands. The ones that she went over have all the strands together. So all 5 strands for math there and all the strands for ELA. That's the overarching piece. But you can break them apart by area.
You know, the county's really had a focus on mathematics, and you can tell. When I was first hired, I remember one of the things Fred Amick said, there's a war on math, W-A-R. And that was one of the things that he was really adamant about focusing on, and we focused on it. But one of the things that we are seeing, we have a couple phenomenal people. We have Tony and Teresa and Sydney Shelton working with some teachers, and the difference, it's amazing with some of the things that I'm seeing. So it may be a situation that we need to find. The key is you can't always just bring someone in to work with teachers. Teachers have to respect, buy in, want the support. I'm not sure who that is, or what individuals that needs to be, but that's the type of help that I think we can offer, that we need to offer. But again, I'm not sure what individuals, I'm not sure. I'm really I'm struggling with this. And like I said, Sarah and I, we've talked about it, and it's very concerning. And I felt bringing the staff in before the board, each board meeting, I thought was important, so that you could see the data each time and that you could ask questions. I wanted everyone to understand that it's not something that I am just going to come before the board and speak about, but it's something that the principals had to come speak about their schools, what they're doing, let you know what types of things they're doing. Because I wanted my instructional leaders to understand that we're all taking this seriously. And by reporting to the board, that's the most serious step that I can think of taking. We have great people, we have great teachers, we have great administrators. So I just think that we'll just have to continue to look and research and figure out what we need to do. But for elementary, I feel really good. I mean, there's some real high, great things going on. There's some other areas that's not as good, but I think we've got a handle on that. I think we're good. It's my secondary.
Just one last question. The data that you're able to see right now, which the window's not even closed yet, when it closes, you'll have access to all testing data, right? It'll be the raw data.
It's the raw data, yes, for everyone.
Okay, and so the state will go through matriculations that they use on that, and then When will they unembargo?
Usually it's around early to mid-August.
Okay.
And then in September, usually is when we get the accountability data of where it's polished and kids who didn't have a full academic year are removed, and then it goes to the balanced scorecard.
But the raw data the teacher could look at as soon as the testing data is over.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Some of them, it will take a couple days to drop in, like some of the writing assessments and ELA. But typically, shortly after their students have completed, they're able to see that
When they
information.
know their scores.
Anything for the superintendent, any questions? Okay. So let's move on to action items. Approval of the ZMM change order for the Nicholas County Memorial Walking Trail, which is Richwood.
Actually, that's just a duplication. That was actually approved the last time. That was for the extension. That's why I had Kevin up here looking, because that was approved previously and it was added, so that was just a duplication.
So we don't need to vote on A.
No, no.
Okay, action item B, approval of the quote with Advantage Technology on the state-approved contract list. Mr. Henshaw.
So what you're seeing, the quote is for new switches for the county. I have funds called Tools for Schools funds, which is $117,000 a year, but the caveat with those is I'm only allowed to purchase from the state contract with those. So I use that for my network equipment most of the time. And the switches in our schools right now is probably 8 years old. And so Mr. Green probably helped me put some of those in. I did all of our wireless last year. It's in, it's configured. I think I got a little bit of work to do to make that a little bit better. But now with the back end of that, because your access point actually connects through cable back to a switch in the closet. So that is for 20, I think it was 22 switches. And July 1st, I'm going to ask for that same quote probably again when I get my new Tools for Schools money, because that is last year. I get that money every July 1st as a grant. And that way, hopefully, I'll replace every switch in the county. Each switch, if I'm remembering right, off of that is like $4,700, and that'll do up to 48 devices. So if you think about how many students we got, how much we're powering, I need about 60 to redo the whole county.
Chris, did you say it's been 8 years?
I think it's been about 8 years since they was.
Has technology changed much with switches in 8 years?
Just a little bit, yeah. Yeah, the power.
Quite extensive.
What I'm running into as a big problem is devices like this access point, they use the same cable for power and data. So the newer access points consume more power. And the switches we have now is just power over Ethernet, where they have more classifications like PoE Plus and PoE++, which provides more power over the same cable. I'm running out of power, so I'm going to have to replace those.
In the words of Gladys Harding of Austin, Texas. I'm sure all that means something.
Any other questions from Mr. Henshaw? Thank you, sir. Action item C, approve Microsoft Surface bids for students, teachers at the secondary level.
It's me again. As you saw in your packet, I give you the bid summary. As it stands, I would like to proceed with HPI International. They was the low bid. There's 3 prices on there. The student devices, I got two prices, one with 4 gig of RAM, one with 8 gig of RAM. I was worried if they came in too high, we would take the lesser, but we got a good enough bid on the 8 gig RAM devices at $1.3 million. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's for 2,100 devices. That's about $630 a device. An iPad comes in just over $600, so the price difference was negligible. There was an overwhelming request from secondary to use laptops. High school students want laptops, that's what's used in the workplace. And we had a few issues with iPads, so I think that we'll, after surveying principals, they had heavy input on it. We're going to try to use Surfaces at the secondary level and stay with iPads, which I will be coming to you probably the next meeting with a request to purchase those, a quote, to purchase new iPads for the elementary level.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, sir. Action item D has been scratched because it's listed under finance. So action item E, approval to transfer the rights of the bear video to James Marsh.
I know it probably seems kind of silly to have that on here, but it's had 20 million plus views. That was like a week or so ago. It's surprising the amount of, Melissa can speak better to it, but it's surprising to the amount of requests people have to use the video. And of course, we hadn't charged anything, but a company tried to steal the video. Melissa can explain it.
Yeah, so there are companies out there that whenever videos go viral like this, they like to contract with the owner of the video and then they actually sell it so that you can make money on this. Well, this happened so quickly and I spent 2 whole days, that's all I did for 2 days, was respond to media requests for this video. We had calls from the UK, from Germany, from Japan, it was in Australia and New Zealand, across the United States, CNN, Fox News, NBC, ABC, Huffington Post, and BuzzFeed. We were just swamped with them, and so a company then has made claim on this video. Actually, Mr. Marsh almost didn't get to go to the Tamron Hall show because somebody had made a claim saying that they owned the video. Of course, we said exactly what we agreed to, and he was permitted to be on the show. But they have made that claim, and it's going to take some legal work to protect the rights to that video. I just don't feel as a Board of Education that that's something that we ought to be devoting our time and our resources to. We're trying to build schools and set up a statewide job bank and fill vacancies, and I just feel like it's a better use of our resources to just allow Mr. Marsh to have the rights to that video and then allow him to seek whatever legal advice, legal representation that he wants to protect that video.
And I asked Mr. Marsh, I told him, I said, the unfortunate part is if we do nothing, this other company is going to secure this video and they're going to make money off of it. And since we're not in the business of any type of a media, whatever, to do something like this, I asked him, I said, if we transferred the rights of the video to you, is that something that you would like so you can try to hire an attorney and lay claim to it or whatever you need to do? And he said, yes, I would like to have the rights to it.
How could another group claim the rights to it? It's not theirs.
Well, this company, I won't say the name on the air, but this company, after they made that claim, and kind of did some research, and they're kind of notorious for that. What they do is they go lay claim to it,
Copyright law is kind of a niche area of the law, and it's pretty complex, and the penalties for violating it are pretty stiff. It's like $750,000 fine per violation. So they just go claim it, and then, you know, other news outlets then are afraid to use it, but they can get by with that because it's very expensive to litigate. And so if you're just a small-time, you know, small-time video, this is not what you do for a living. You have influencers who are on social media who do this daily. Well, they have legal representation, but for a person who just, you know, this was like lightning striking, you know, who nobody could foresee this. And so, you know, to go to defend that is going to be extremely complicated and maybe expensive, and they just hope that people just give up on it and not fight on it. It's kind of, it's not ethical in my opinion, but.
It's like taking the title to your house.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's his image, you know.
Yeah.
That
Certainly wasn't their camera, but.
Wasn't their camera, and it's his image, and, you know, we posted it. And, you know, when I posted it, I thought, we saw it that morning, he sent it to Dr. Tetrick, and we watched and thought, this is really funny, we need to put this up on Facebook. And I thought locally people would be all excited about it, and I thought, okay, we might get a news station or two in West Virginia to pick it up. When I walked back in here the next day and you know, had my voicemail and the messages on the Facebook page and my email just full of media requests, I was really taken aback. I mean, you know, stars have to align just perfectly for something like this to take off, and it's not really anything that you can anticipate or predict. If you could, then I would be rich and would be laying on a beach somewhere.
But that's why I just hate to see someone else lay claim to the rights and us not at least give him an opportunity to try to secure it.
Especially when he did the paperwork after the bear chase.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and buy new pants and all that.
Yeah.
He had some expenses involved.
He's done all of the media work. I mean, the only thing, when they contact us, I've just said, yeah, you can use it, but, you know, he's put a lot of personal time and effort into this himself.
And made it educational for the kids, and it's been a real educational thing that he's done with them, so it's been good.
All right, thank you all.
Don't run from a bear, is that what she said?
That's what she said.
Oh, that was crazy.
Action item F, approval of the renewal MOU with West Virginia School of Medicine Department of, oh Lord, Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences. Ms. Young. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, that's a renewal. We are currently contracting with them for O&M services. That is federally mandated, orientation and mobility, teaching our visually impaired students to navigate in the community, working with students on using canes, and it's something we are required to do. And hopefully in about the next year and a half, we're going to have an employee who's certified. We have someone working on that currently, so.
How many students do we have?
More than you would think. I'm thinking, I don't know right off the top of my head, I would have to check, but I think it's about 8 to 10 students that would qualify for that service. You don't have to be totally blind to qualify for this service.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, that's all the action items. Do we have a motion to approve action items B, C, E, and F?
So moved.
Dr. Penix makes a motion to accept action items B, C, E, and F. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Green. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, consent items. Mr. Hess.
I guess several things to do this evening. So I'll try not to keep you very long and keep moving along here. First item is payment of current invoices. If you have any questions on those.
Yeah, who is, let's see, is that the travel? Who's Roy Moore?
Bus driver.
Is he?
Right?
Roy Moore, is that the question?
Travel?
Bus driver. Bus driver.
I think it's me, because it's a travel. That's what I wondered.
I don't think there's any in my travel.
Where do you see that?
That was on the first page of travel.
Travel expenses?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Ford travel.
Alan, do you have a Mr. Moore?
We do have Roy Moore as the bus driver.
So, yeah, so
He
he's
is
a
a
bus
bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
Well, it's right there with Rick Green, and it's about the right amount, too.
I'll see here.
Let's see it.
I think that's probably me.
We'll certainly go back and double check that and against the travel, make sure that, did you receive a travel check?
Yeah,
Was it for that amount?
I don't remember. It was somewhere, it's always somewhere around that.
We'll just have to look at that and see. It could just be coincidence that it's right there
Yeah.
next to him. But I'll make a note of it and we'll check it.
I don't see Mr. Perrons on there, so it could have been that only part of them got processed. And if that's not, he is down at the bottom.
I'll check that tomorrow, Mr. Moose, and then let you know. But yeah, we do have an employee by that name.
I've been called that before, too. Moses, anything, they always want, anything but move, they want to call.
Any other questions on payment of current invoices? Next item under payment of current financing is supplements and transfers. I'll read through those quickly. The first one is a Cherry River Swing Set Platform. Payment to Nicholas Banker and Technical Center, $16,639. I'm sorry, that was for $700. Then we had Cherry River Remake Learning Days, $150. And then our auction proceeds was $15,579. Then we had a few food service supplements. Local food for schools, $16,637. Supply chain assistance for food service, $37,553. And then the state matching grant for $13,586. Followed by county level teacher leadership grant, $1,000. And a SREB, Making Schools Work, $6,000 grant. And decrease in our state aid, and for FY22, a reduction of $22,084. And then the final one there, $59,610, is a reduction of our construction project. We were going back and taking a look at the very beginnings of that, and we found that $59,000 had been charged to the county, which was really chargeable to that project. And so if we don't go back and charge it now, the county will have to incur that cost. So that is a negative supplement to the project of $59,000 and some change. and occurred back in 2000, or FY18.
Why was state aid reduced?
Or
Why was state aid reduced?
state aid, I don't recall. There must have been an adjustment. I don't have a descriptor on here for what reason it was reduced, but I can let you know.
That's okay, it's a very minimal amount, but I just wondered at this time of year why they're reducing state aid. But
Well, they make adjustments throughout the year, just like our VEIA gets adjusted this time of the year. You know, if there's a shift, our original allocation is based upon estimates from, like right now, what's in our budget for PPIA is the employees that we have this year. So as we roll into next year, towards the end, just like we're in now, and they have a certified list and can verify the actual number of employees employed, then they readjust that PEIA amount to true it up, if you will. And so there could be some truing up of the state aid formula as well, but I can certainly check on that.
it's very minor, I just.
The PEIA increase won't come out until next year, that 2000.
It starts July 2023.
So that, so people that extend their checks, does that amount change on those July and August checks?
It sure does.
So that's another adjustment.
It will be, well, that'll be an adjustment to the employee's check.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be a reduction to their check starting July 1. And, you know, the raise that was approved was $2,300, doesn't take effect until September. So they're going to get hit for a couple months of premiums until they actually realize their increase in their paycheck. I've got a little bit of more news to tell you about PBI, and I'll do that when we talk about our budget. But yeah, some major changes in PEI this year. Treasurer's report for April. On the revenue side for our general funds, you can see our grand total budget is $60,353,000. We have just about the bottom second to last and third to last lines is our equity, which is just over $20 million. So our actual budget of operating budget is $39 million. Of that, we have received $28 million. We have $11.3 million remaining, and equates to about 71% of our general fund budget has been collected through April. If you'll notice on the first two lines, though, we have collected 100%, over 100% of what we expected in our local taxes, and so the revenues that we collect for May and June will be considered surplus collections. So there are one or two items in there. There's like on behalf of retirement, which is $3.9 million. We'll book that at the end of the year. So the 71% is slightly skewed because some of those are annual adjustments of revenue. So we're actually closer to 100% than it's actually showing. On the next page, you can look at our capital projects fund. $157 million was brought into this year's budget. And of that, we have asked for reimbursement of $8.7 million, and there's $148 million yet to be reimbursed to the county. And then at the bottom of that page, you can see our current cash balance and how we have that invested. Followed by the Special Revenue Fund, which is our federal and state grants. Bottom, $9.2 million budget, $5.7 million has been received so far, so 3.4 of our budget remains to be reimbursed for our federal and state expenditures. And then our federal stimulus monies, $14 million for this year. We have asked for reimbursement of and received almost $2.4 million. We have $11.6 million in that. There's two grants, one of which expires this September, and the larger one expires next September. Now, looking on the expense side of things, again, a $60 million budget on our general fund. We've expended $25.7 million. We have over $9 million encumbered for payroll, which leaves us about $25.5 million unspent, for 58% of our budget's been committed at this point. And then on the next page is our capital projects fund, $157 million budget. We have spent $7.8 million. We have $51.7 million encumbered, which leaves $97,776,791.54 remaining. Special revenue fund, $9.2 million budget. We've spent $6.8 million. We have $1.7 million encumbered, or $565,000 of federal and state grants remaining. And on our federal stimulus monies, $14 million budget. We have expended just over $2 million. We have $469,000 encumbered, or $11.5 million remaining. And also, I'm sorry, I passed out some additional expenditures on checks we needed to run today. Back up to that. Our P card payment is due, so we went ahead and cut that check. State Fire Marshal check, which is for our construction project, and then some auctioneering services for our auction. On contracts, I have a few late adjustments on those as well. We put these on the agenda and kind of received them latter part of, I had some questions about them, but we went ahead and listed them because we wanted to get them approved, and I still had a few things to check out. The first one is Ed Medcare contract, which is just a voluntary program we have with the AirMed Express, or AirMed Care. AirVac, yeah, I was looking for the right word there. Our employees can voluntarily participate in that, and it shows you the annual rates to be a member. And so we'd like to continue that for our employees. It's at no cost to the board.
Is that automatically renewed if we're signed on it? Is that all?
Yes, if you're already a member, you will continue. The second one is a contract with the City Parks of Clarksburg for a rental contract at Splash Zone. We're not allowed to prepay, and so as a Board of Education, and there's like only one exception of that I'm aware of, which is purchase of airline tickets. So in Splash Zone's case, we had to look into that a little bit closer because they were requiring a deposit. They were willing to work with us and said that the deposit would be fully refundable should we not go. So we're going to allow that, ask the board to approve that contract with Splash Zone. Next contract is with Virginia Safari Park. We had 3 schools wanting to attend that during the summer as part of their summer program. They are not willing to work with us on any type of refundable deposit, and so therefore I'm asking to strike that one from the agenda and not approve that. And then we have a Barter Theater contract. Payment is due, and they are allowing us to pay that on the day of the service, and so I'd like to ask the board to approve that one. Last one is with Stand Tall Steve, and we had some questions on this one as well, and they went back You don't have the most current copy of the contract because I just received it today, but the total fee is $20,000, but that's to cover 5 different attendance presentations over the course of next school year. There's some questions about travel and how that was supposed to be billed. We got that cleared up. There's not any type of prepaid situation there as well. And this contract is acceptable, so I ask the board to approve that one. And that's paid out of the Title I and Title II carryover funds.
Except for training teachers or working with students?
Training administrators, principals, school leaders.
Okay.
And it's Stand Tall Steve instead of Too Tall Steve?
Yes, it's Stand Tall Steve.
Did I say too tall?
No, it's on the agenda, it's Too Tall Steve.
Because that's what he said.
Too tall, stand tall.
Steve Bowler is the guy's name.
And I need that contract for him to sign because mine's.
Okay, I'll get it. I just got it.
Okay.
If you'll remember, we had, pardon?
What is this training about?
What did you ask?
Yeah, Stand Tall Steve, what's it about?
When one of our goals for our strategic plan, and it's very similar to last year's, but we have where we're working with environment, relationship building, and classroom management in one of those. And what he works with is a lot of organizational culture, and he's a former principal and superintendent, and he works with the administrators on a lot of the organizational tips, strategies, communication skills, those types of things, and then he will be available for them to contact him throughout the year for follow-up and advice and whatnot as we go through the year.
So he's coming on August the 2nd, then he's available after that for...
Right, well, and then we'll have 4 follow-up sessions, more formal, and then he is available, for them to email questions and things along the way as they're trying things.
You've done this before?
I've seen him speak twice at national conferences, but he's not been here.
If you'll remember in our budget, this would probably qualify, but part of the monies available through the state is for new teacher and administrative training. And it went from $60-some thousand to $310,000 for next year, so there's a huge increase. And so just as more money is available to get training in the hands of those folks. So, this, I think that would qualify probably if...
Oh, it would, and this is also some of the money that we have left that we either have to spend or send back.
Right, so we'll use that first. Last item right here is approval of bid. And so we had put out for bid a storage unit to put on the helicopter pad at the Bay Creek site. And so, if you'll remember, we had put out for bid some additional storage for here at the board office for items that were needed to just stay in some dry storage. And just over time, it was deemed that was not really what we needed. And so over time, we acquired the property and we have the hangar there just to really take full advantage of the area. There's a concrete slab there, and so we chose not to go forward with the building that we were going to put down here behind the ALC building. And so we elected to put a new building out that would fit on that pad, which is just slightly bigger. And as you can see, The low bid came in at $41,395. And so I think it'll be a huge asset for
What size is it?
40 by 40.
39 by 39 or something like that.
40 by 40.
Is it 40?
And one of the things is we have insurance money from where this other building burned down that we could actually use to pay for the replacement of it.
Good, yes.
And I think that the last bid was approved for 26,000.
23, 26, somewhere in that range.
Is that a steel building or a wood frame? Wood or?
It is metal, yeah.
It would look like the other one that's up there.
So we'd ask the board to approve that, please.
Do they set it up for that?
Yes, they'll set it up for that. One of the reasons we didn't want to put it back here was it was where the coal was stored. It just logistically wouldn't have been a good spot for it.
Pretty hard to get in and out there, isn't it?
Hard to get in and out, and it's also right on the side of that hillside, so we would have had water issues.
When they had the porta-four.
Well, a lot of that's fuel anyway.
Okay, so do you guys have any questions up to this point? Chris? Make you sweat, right? Oh, I got it. Thank you.
Let's,
Hold on, let's.
Kevin, before you go over the budget, let's go ahead and approve everything else while it's fresh in our mind.
Sure.
If that's all right. So does anybody have a question up to this point? So do I have a motion to accept finance items, payment of current invoices, supplements and transfers, treasurer's report, contracts A, B, D, and E, which should say stand tall, Steve, and the bid for the building.
So moved.
Okay, Dr. Penix makes a motion for finance items 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, D, E, and number 5 bids. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moose. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Mr. Hess.
Thank you. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, we went over the, our budget in a budget workshop, and since that time, we put that out on public comment. We've been working a little bit more to try to hone in some of those numbers, and we had a few changes, and I'll point those out to you here. The very first one you're going to notice is the amount of local contributions went from like $2,860,000 to $3,066,000. And that was just due to some of the things that we have changed over the last couple of weeks. Now, with that being said, remember I said the $2.8 million was a lot compared to what it normally has been in the past. It normally averaged from $1 million to 1.2. Year before last, it was 1.8. We were estimating a couple weeks ago to be 2.8. Well, at our ASBO meeting we had last week, we were told that the Department of Education put their request into the legislature for their annual budget. At the same time, PEIA put their request in for the increases. And so they both got approved, but the State Department did not know about these increases, and therefore they did not budget for the projected increase in PEIA. So they're going back to the legislature to ask for a supplement in a special session. How does that affect Nicholas County? It's the amount of underfunded or non-funded state PEIA, which is for our employees that are hired under the formula, is approximately $824,000. So that'll bring, essentially, we'll get to supplement our budget by $824,000 should the legislature make that appropriation to the county boards, which will drop this down to about $2.2 million, which is a little bit more palatable. So that was a big relief for me to find that out last week, because it was a huge increase in the county contribution portion that we were going to have to come up with.
So that would have to come out of our contingency, correct? Or our,
if it's not funded, you are correct. As of right now, we're saying we need $3 million to come out of our contingency. And then when the special session happens, and it should the legislature decide to fund that, then they will increase our state aid portion, or this PEIA portion, by $824,000, which in effect will require less out of our county funds.
Let's hope they approve it.
Yes. Charter schools. Part of our state aid that we receive has to support charter schools, and so $80,000 was not in the money that we talked about last time. So we had to put an expense line in there to support charter schools. Charter schools for Nicholas County means the kids that are in a virtual program. Even though we don't physically have a charter school in the county, part of our funds goes to help pay for the virtual program.
Part of our funds, is that local or state?
This is state aid. Yep. This was just something I overlooked. There's $500 there that should have been included. I missed it. Should be a yellow mark in this column if there's a change. Again, $3,730 need to add here. This is, it seems maybe simple, but the payroll section for this one category is about 4 or 5 pages long, and it budgets how many lines are on a page, and most of those lines are fixed charges, and so it's very, very easy to miss one of those lines, and that's most of the time what happened when you see an adjustment here. I just missed one line, and so we went back to verify all that over the last couple of weeks to make sure I didn't, and sure enough, I did miss a couple things. This one, I don't remember what it was, but it was $39,000 or $38,000, which looked funny to us. I don't know if one of you guys commented on that, but I went back and checked it, and yes, there was a salary missing, $103,000. So we picked that up. Those were just some calculations I was doing.
Are the salaries of the board employees here included in with the teachers, or is that a separate?
It's a separate category. We have categories for administrative, finance.
Administrative.
Yeah, administrative category, finance, maintenance, transportation. Yeah. The directors are all included in their appropriate function. So those were the only changes that I made over the last 2 weeks. And as you can see, our total budget last year was $44.6 million. And so this year, it's projected to be $49.1 million. I also added, there's some additional stimulus monies that I didn't have in the original budget. And this was $517,000 last time, I think. And so I budgeted that additional stimulus money. So that was the changes, but probably one of my favorite parts of the whole budget thing is this. And this is what you have a copy of. And so, and I'm just going to hit a few of the good charts that we have. But this just breaks down our total revenue and our total expenses. Again, $49.1 million budget, and how we have it broken down into different program functions. Most of which, I think 81% of our budget are salaries. And then part of our revenues, our local revenues, is derived from the assessed values in the county. And as we talked about earlier in the year, our assessed values for Nicholas County, for the second time since I've been working here, just crossed $1 billion. And so the local taxes that are collected go to fund the school system, and it's a calculation into the state aid. And this is the excess levy funds. We should collect just over $4.5 million next year in excess levy funds, compared to the $4.2 million that we are expected to receive this year.
Is that in excess of the levy call?
Mm-hmm. The levy call, I have it right here. I think the levy call was $4,083,000. Actually, it's one of these slides coming up. There it is. Yeah, $4,083,000 is our levy call. So the board is allowed to keep those excess funds and spend it for any other instructional expenditure. For us, that means keeping people employed, essentially. Our enrollment since 1994, we started out at 5,083 students, and we're down to 3,471. State aid has stayed relatively the same over the last 10 years, with the exception of the last couple of years, and we're seeing a slight increase in state aid. So our anticipated revenues for next year, breaking it down into different categories. Local collections, or general fund collections, should be about $36 million. We're going to add $3 million at this point to come up with a total of $39 million, compared to the $37 million last year. Most of that difference is right here in the amount of county contributions that you're going to have to contribute. And then we look at the food service program. We're expecting more revenues, but most of that, again, is the county contribution increase. And then federal funds, those will stay relatively the same outside of any federal stimulus monies. And then we just break that down a little bit differently. $10 million in local funds, $32 million in state funds, and $6.4 million in federal funds. And it's like I said before, most of our expenses are salaries, which is in the blue, and then transportation is 8% in the red, followed by food service at 5%, and utilities and insurance at 4%. Then I won't go through all these, but we break down the program function, instructional, and then support services, and administrative, and maintenance, and transportation, and special ed, and vocational. In your booklet there, you can see all of those broken down, how it compares to the previous year, and how much we budget to each one. There's several pages there. Any questions on your budget? $49,184,167. And if you approve that tonight, we'll adopt that as your official budget going into the FY 23-24 school year. And then, as you know, we'll supplement that budget nearly every month throughout the school year as more funds come available, or if any of these estimates of budgetary amounts change, we will need to do a transfer of funds to take care of that.
Kevin, where's our budget rank in the state? Are we about in the middle?
Probably. You know, certainly there are a lot, some are a lot more, but our fund balance is probably better than most right now. It used to be, for our size, we had the highest fund balance of any county in the state. We had that for several years. You know, everything is relatively the same as far as, and the state aid formula makes it fair across all counties. And the only difference is when it comes down to excess levies. Some counties have excess levies, some counties do not. And then the value of those excess levy amounts vary across the county from, I think I had it added up at one time. Well over a dozen, I believe, have 100% levy, meaning, or excess levy, that they pay as much in excess levy taxes, that it's 100% goes to the school system as they do in regular taxes. Our county isn't one of those. We pay 63% essentially, and as you can see, that's going to collect just over $4.5 million, and we're very thankful for that. And that's about 10% of our budget, and it goes a long way. And so without that, it would be hard to provide all the services that we do, certainly.
Do we still have in the levy call the salary supplement for employees?
It's part of the excess levy, yes. It was funded as part of, when they made everything equal across the state back in 1984, our county was paying a supplement to the professional and the service individuals. And when they equalized the state aid formula, the counties across the state that were paying a supplement to their employees, that was taken into consideration and was more or less said that you're going to continue that supplement. And so the state didn't have, so for us, let's say it was $1,000 for every professional teacher. We weren't able, we had to continue that as long as we have an excess levy in place to pay for it. Had we not had it in our excess levy, then the state would have come in and paid that $1,000 for that per professional employee. So a lot of counties across the state are in that same predicament where part of that equalization across the state still requires county boards to fund part of the equalization. And so it seems a little unfair
Yeah.
But the only way for us to get out of that is not to have an excess levy. So you give up $4.5 million in order to save $300,000 or something like that. But yes.
On your next levy call, you can delete that from it.
No, it's
They already know you collected, and they want you to keep collecting.
It's part of it until we don't have one again. But it's not like, not to be confused, that it's still part of what it's a requirement of the county, but it's also under the state minimum. It's what helps make up that state minimum pay scale. Our county pays at the state minimum, but part of what, if we were to draw a line and say this is the state minimum pay scale, and the state's going to pay that, unless you had a supplement in place, which we did, and so the state's going to pay up to this point, and then that last $1,000 the county has to pay. So it's not like our teachers make any more than any other county in the system. It's part of this. We have to help make up the state minimum, if that makes sense.
Have counties supplemented, other counties supplemented salaries since the equalization?
Yes.
So in other words, some other counties now have gone and said, here was the equalization, so we're going to fund our teachers now $3,000 more than that formula. So that's, and they're paying for that over and above. It is not a fair and equitable salary system across the state. I mean, we are paying part of the state's responsibility in the salaries with our excess levy. It's been an argument I've had for several years, and the state needs to fund they need to fund it if they want up to the point of the level where we have our excess levy, and then our excess levy should be going above and beyond that, in my opinion. So. That's an argument for another day.
Does anybody have any questions on their proposed or their budget for the upcoming school year? On behalf of the superintendent, if you guys would consider approving that, we will move that in as adopted budget for the upcoming school year. And then item B are some travel requests. Now, items 1, 2, and 3 relate to the contract that I asked to be striked to Safari Park. If some reason we can work that out between now and the time of the trip, we'll bring those requests back to you again. If not, they'll probably try to reschedule a trip for those schools.
Did we pass that in our minutes to Safari?
No.
Or Virginia Safari Park? That's a different park.
No, that's
not. We struck it. It wasn't in our motion.
Safari Park that I asked the board to strike was a contract to go there with them. However, the Part B of the finance items 1, 2, and 3 are the travel requests to attend the park. So if we strike the contract, we no longer have a need for the travel.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to recommend to accept the budget?
So moved.
Dr. Penix makes a motion to accept next year's budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Berry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I thought we were going to vote on Kevin taking
All right, Kevin, go ahead and finish your out-of-state.
Yes, those out-of-state travels are items 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, please.
questions for Mr. Hess for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9? Do we have a motion to accept the out-of-state travel request 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Mr. Green makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moose. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. Hess. That brings us to personnel.
We don't sign this. Okay. Just that. Okay.
I'll motion for just a few minutes. We will have a need for an executive session.
Okay, do I have a motion that we go into executive session?
So moved.
Have a second? So it's to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Penny, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Berry. All in favor? Aye. At 8:21. There were no decisions made during executive session.
All right, you have in your packet the updated personnel agenda. A copy has been made available to the public and to the press. I will read the changes out loud though. On page 1, we removed the position of itinerant assistant principal and the English teacher for Richwood High School and also the Grow Your Own teacher. We did interviews today for the assistant principal, and we had some pretty strong applicants. We're going to kind of do a round 2, so I anticipate that we will have a recommendation for that. I believe that there are applicants for the Grow Your Own position as well. I just haven't received a recommendation yet, so I'm not sure where they are in that process. And the same thing with the English teacher for Richwood High School. Do have a recommendation for the Flex Social Studies teacher for Richwood Middle and Richwood High School, and that is Jeffrey Bell. And that'll be effective with the start of the 23-24 school year. Under substitute teacher, added the names Heather Neal, Annalie Odell, Nathan Dickinson, and Justin Jones. Then on page 3, for the, under professional extracurricular, the very last thing there for the summer boost tutors for Somersville Elementary School, removed the name Jacob Foreman. And then also on page 4, we've got several resignations in. Shanna Mullins resigns her position as summer boost cook at Golly River Elementary School effective May 10th, 2023. Tracy Ward resigns his position as bus operator for Nicholas County Schools effective May 31st, 2023. Matthew Wolverton resigns his position as junior ROTC instructor at Nicholas County High School effective May 15th, 2023. Jerry Skidmore resigns his position as math teacher in Richwood Middle School at Richwood Middle School and assistant football coach at Nicholas County High School effective May 30, 2023. And we also added Bailey Thomas and Clarissa Deal as volunteers for Nicholas County Schools. On the next page, you have one leave request from an employee that I will not read aloud. And then on the final page is the updated vacancy list. I did include the pending resignations on here. So with the hires that we're going to make tonight and the pending resignations, that's going to leave our total professional vacancies at 19. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you've got.
I'm sorry. Richwood High School, Golly River Assistant, what's going on there?
We did interviews today, but we're going to bring them back for a second round of interviews, a couple of people.
All good, okay.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to accept the personnel agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Moose, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Green. It was a tie, I think.
He gets it, he gets it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Superintendent's information, construction planning, architectural update.
Bid openings tomorrow. Glade Creek, utilities package at 10 o'clock here in the board office. At 1 o'clock, it will be for the construction. So, pretty big day, and praying that the bids come in where we need them to be. So it's open to the general public, anyone that would like to come in and listen to the bid openings. And they're here.
Here in
Yes.
the boardroom.
Yes, in the boardroom.
The 1 o'clock was the general contract?
Yes, yes. So, and every other week, I'm at a construction planning meeting in addition to this, I'm at a construction planning meeting every Tuesday, either for Glade Creek or for Richwood. So usually my Tuesdays are pretty consumed with those construction meetings. Meeting the milestones. The building pad has been completed at Glade Creek. Things are moving along pretty much on target.
Any questions? Okay. Number 11, reports. Dr. Penix, SESC.
We don't meet until this Wednesday, so I should have a report at the next board meeting.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Green, Bright Horizons.
Meeting on Thursday, if I can make it. If I'm not, I'll probably be at work, but
Okay.
we'll try to make it. They'll send me some emails anyways.
All right, number 12. Delegations. Cordell McClung. So we ask that we'll tell you when to start because you'll be on time. We'll ask you to state your name and your address, and we'll tell you when.
Try this one more time, sorry.
You're fine.
We said over here.
I've got it, Chris, if you can get it.
It should just come right up. I've done this how many times? I don't even like it. It's kicking my butt.
Well, that's friendly.
I don't know. It was for. Guess I'll just have to.
Maybe some winter new TV equal to me, huh?
Actually, I got two coming for here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mr. McClung, go ahead and state your name and your address, and then I'll hit the start.
Cordell Harrison McClung, 26 Bright Mountain Road, Summersville, West Virginia, 26651.
Go ahead, sir.
I want to clear up any confusion why I'm speaking tonight. I do feel that our kids will lose a local opportunity to help them better themselves on and off the court. It is very disheartening to see the kids in Nicholas County go through this, the same things I went through, and in my opinion, maybe a little worse. I know my time is short, so I'm just going to go over a few questions that I had prepared. just regarding your guys' policy and how it's been handled. Number one, if you guys are going to charge me $40 an hour, I do hope that this is upheld to everybody that does use the gym for profit. The example I have is the upcoming craft show. I know this is a fundraiser for the athletic department from what I hear. However, the majority of those people coming in there are to make a profit. So I think it's only fair that they pay for the spot and the $40 an hour because they're using your facility. Two, I have been presented many policies over the past year. Only one was approved on July 5th, 2022, and that was to ensure I had a $1 million policy and the fee attached to the gym. Recently, I was told that there was a fee of $40 an hour, and that was effective immediately. Policy change is supposed to come to public attention and brought before the Board of Education. That did not happen, and for those reasons, I do feel this is a personal attack. I do work with kids from all ages and all over, the majority being here in Nicholas County, though, both Summersville and Richwood. I've seen many kids improve their skill and grow off the court. With the events that have happened previously and recently, there's only one group that I really feel that will suffer from the actions that have happened over the course of the year. Just my couple questions out of that is, why are these actions happening to take opportunity away from our youth? And just going towards what I do, how can you make a judgment whenever I've never seen any of the board members or Dr. Tetrick at a workout? So I just really hope that our kids don't lose an opportunity off a lack of research. So in conclusion, I hope you see that the actions prior to the board meeting just put our kids at a disadvantage. If the board members and Dr. Tetrick would like to talk further, I would be happy to schedule a meeting with you guys. I do have a saying in OAB basketball, discomfort breeds success. So no matter the outcome of this, I know my athletes, my future athletes, and myself will be successful. Thank you guys for your time.
Okay. Items for future agendas. Mr. Moose?
We're going to have to discuss this, aren't we?
Discuss.
This proposal. We'll have to respond eventually, won't we?
Well, if that's what are you saying, put it on the agenda?
Yeah.
So you want clarification on the policy? Okay.
I'll probably be bringing the other policy. The principals are requesting the change. So Mr. McClung has approval till June 30th. And there's distinction between for-profit and nonprofit. So based on the fee schedule, just to explain and I did send Mr. McClung a message and explain to him what had happened. He didn't mention that as he was speaking, but I explained to him that there was an agreement that was passed in July by this board and it set the rate, but when it came to the user agreement was not updated. So since the user agreement was not updated, it was listed, the principals have brought it to my attention. I had a couple that asked me, it said that in the user agreement it said that it had to be, for-profits had to be negotiated or something like that between the principal and the for-profit. They asked that the price be the exact same for everyone. So in our meeting, the principal said, we pay $40 an hour for Richwood, we pay $40 an hour for St. Luke's. So if we have a for-profit, we should be charging the same as other areas of this county. So, and then the rest of the other principals said, yes, I agree on that. I spoke with Mr. Hess, he said, yes, that's a solid foundation. That's why would you charge less than what you're paying to use facilities. So, and then the other principals did not care one way or the other. So, so revision was made, and again, in error in not realizing that the previous approval had been made in July. I had to make a correction, and I notified Mr. McClung of the error, and told him he was good until June 30th. So my intent is to bring back what the principals are requesting and ask this board to pass guidance charging $40 an hour for profit, because you start getting into a slippery slope. What if a teacher wants to rent a room at a school and charge a fee to tutor students? What if someone wants to go hang up a counseling shingle at a school and start charging for that? So there has to be, schools are being used for profit or nonprofit. That's something this board will have to decide, but it is a very slippery slope. And we have right now 5 different individuals, I think, at Nicholas County High School coaching kids for free. We have 6 different individuals at Summersville Middle School coaching kids for free. So kids are building skills, and this is according to my principals. And we only have 1 person that's charging. So as far as people do these types of things in other areas, they rent buildings, they build buildings to host those types of events and those activities. If you have a business and you don't have to pay any overhead, and you do it off of the school system, that's a pretty good deal. So, again,
We will discuss and respond then. I mean, it will be taken, yeah.
so I plan to bring a copy of a policy, and then the board can decide whether you want to vote it up or vote it down.
So is that the facilities policy is separate from the user agreement policy? So both.
It's a user agreement, it's a guidelines.
It's a guidelines.
It's guidelines.
Okay, then.
So that'll be.
It doesn't have to be part of the agenda.
Yeah, it needs to be on the agenda. Yeah. So that'll be on the agenda for Monday, June 5th, 2023. Okay. Anything else, items for future agendas? Okay, future meeting dates, Monday, June 5th here at the board office, regular meeting Monday, June 19th. In July, regular meeting July 3rd and July 17th, and all those are at the central office here at 6 o'clock. All hearts and minds clear? We have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Mr. Berry makes a motion, seconded by?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Green, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? At 8:38.